So, yes, we have to have this groundswell. We have to all of us that recognize what is happening, we have to push in any way we can. And there are multiple ways. You know, we can have rallies, we can have educational programs, we can talk to our elected officials, we can try to form alliances. Like the Jews from this area, from New York City and especially from Brooklyn, met just a short time ago.
Supporting justice and peace for the people of Palestine who have been suffering under the Israeli occupation for almost 75 years is getting wider among the American public, as Israel is no longer able to cover up its atrocities and the crimes against the people of Palestine. To talk more about this, I have with me from New York, political activist, supporter of justice and Palestinian rights, Mr. Thomas Cox. Welcome to our program. Great honor to have you with us, Tom.
It's my honor to be here. Thank you,
Tom,
Mr. Ross.
you're living in New York, thousands of miles away from Palestine, but when you see the atrocities committed by the Israeli occupation army and the Israeli settlers against the Palestinians in their refugee camps, cities, and villages, how do you feel? Tell me about your personal feelings towards such actions.
It's extremely disturbing. I actually can feel often great rage knowing the details that most of the American public doesn't get, because the mainstream American press does not handle this very well. But I often think of, you just mentioned that this has been going on for 75 years. And just 3 days ago, we noted the anniversary of the atrocities in Deir Yassin that were perpetrated before Israel claimed independence. And this is really part of the same problem that's going on today. The tactics shift slightly, but the plan is to get as many people out of Palestine as possible.
Yes.
So it's difficult.
Yeah, Tom, on the ground, Israeli settlers' violence is increasing against the Palestinians because these settlers, or Israeli militia, let me call them, are fully supported by the Israeli government, by the official body in Israel. Now, when the government supporting such groups, how serious is that from your own perspective?
Well, there's just such a collaboration between Israel and the U.S. government that, it's deal making, with the results being that great injustice is perpetrated on an ongoing basis. And, this is really the government that is not not synchronized with the will of the American people. Even Jewish Americans that are voters in the Democratic Party, they have shifted where they are aligned with Palestine more than they are with Israel. So there's something that is very volatile and unstable in this system. And now we see it with some of this pushback with these, these new fascist people in power in Palestine, the deal that Netanyahu had to make, and how Ben Gvir wants to have a private militia. And then the settlers are emboldened, and they can push their way anywhere, set up another illegal settlement, or try to reopen one that was closed previously. So it's infuriating, and it's just that the fact that Palestinians are such a peaceful people makes it even worse.
Yes, Tom. And you mentioned the American administration relations with Israel. We see how the American administration invaded many countries, claiming that it's there to defend democracy and protect the people against the regimes ruling them. But when it comes to Israel and Israeli atrocities and the crimes against the Palestinians, it keeps silent on that. And further, it continues to provide money and equipment for Israel. What is the secret behind that?
Well, it's political deal making. And, there's such a disregard for human life and for the integrity of foreign nations. You know what the result was of the United States going into Iraq as just one example. And when I was of military age, we were fighting in Vietnam. Neither one of those has any justification at all. This is the behind the scenes workings of people who are benefiting from this status quo. So there are enough people benefiting from the terrible status quo in Palestine that it continues. And if the groundswell is great enough, there would be pushback that could change some of this.
Yes, and Tom, sorry for interrupting you, but we see that there is a shift in the public opinion mood in the United States. Just 2 days ago, there were many demonstrations in New York, in Boston, and other states protesting Israeli occupation forces' attack on the Palestinian worshippers in Al-Aqsa Mosque. So to what extent do you think this shift could affect the American foreign policy when it comes to Israel-Palestine?
Well, it just has to keep growing. The movement has to grow larger, where it gets to the point of that politicians will not be able to ignore it. That's what happened in Vietnam. The casualties of American military were high enough, and people were recognizing that they had been told lies, and that's what made the change. Now we see a tiny change here with President Biden not allowing Netanyahu to come to the White House. He was not invited after Netanyahu claimed that America was financing the demonstrations there. So, we don't have a good moral standing at all, but we have a lot of good people here that they're gradually waking up to this problem, and it's sometime there will be a big enough push to change this policy.
Yes, and Tom, my final question to you, Mr. Tom, the number of Israeli settlers in the occupied Palestinian territories is close to 1 million today, and most of them are extremists and promoting hatred against the Palestinians all the time. They are armed to the hilt upon decision by the Israeli government, and every day there is settler violence against the Palestinians everywhere in the occupied territory. What we are afraid of today is to commit massive massacres, to get into villages and kill dozens and maybe hundreds, just like what happened in 1948 when Israel was created. So do you think that the public opinion in the United States in particular and the Western world in general would be helpful for the Palestinians to prevent Israel from committing such massive crimes by the settlers, of course?
Yes, I think that is the route that has to be taken, because we're not going to be able to work with the administrations. Any of the government officials are not going to be open to making significant changes without having the pushback. When we talk to politicians here, for instance, I might go and speak to my representative, and it comes out at some point, well, we don't have enough people talking the way you do to push back against this. Right here we have in the state of New York, we have Israeli so-called charities that are funding illegal settlements. and they get tax deductions in this country. This is totally outrageous. At the same time, they have imprisoned Palestinians for false charges that they are somehow involved in terrorism. So the real terrorists are free to walk around and enjoy all the benefits of being free citizens in this country. So yes, we have to have this groundswell. We have to all of us that recognize what is happening, we have to push in any way we can. And there are multiple ways. You know, we can have rallies, we can have educational programs, we can talk to our elected officials, we can try to form alliances. Like the Jews from this area, from New York City and especially from Brooklyn, met just a short time ago. I live within a short walk to where Chuck Schumer, the head of the Senate right now, the Democratic Party, lives just a short way away. And there was a big rally of Jewish people who don't agree with his policies on handling. He was going to meet with Israeli elected officials. He did, and just offer American support. So there's an example of a place to push back very, very hard. We have to say, no, we do not support this problem that you've created in the Middle East.
Tom Cox, political activist, supporter of Palestinians' rights and justice everywhere. Thank you very much. It was my pleasure having you on the program. Thank you.
Mr. Osama, thank you very much.
And ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching. And from me, Osama Nazal. Have a nice time.